Hello everyone, and thank you for joining. Today we're gonna keep on working on the moped that we were working on last week. Again, as I start with the start of each stream, just to brief you a little bit about this project. We're doing a study, a creative study basically, about storytelling, composition, and like creating your own IP. The basic purpose of this channel is exploring our creativity and how will that affect our well-being, because we've been focused too much on productivity and growth and not much on like the creative part, like the leisure part, where you actually just have some time for yourself, where you can explore and like find some stuff that are only unique to you. Like it doesn't have to be visual arts. This is what I do visual arts, but it can be about anything you want. It can be about sports, skiing, I don't know, gardening, some mechanic work. So it doesn't really have to be just about drawing and like 3D and painting like I do. You can do whatever you want. So all of this I share on my Patreon, where it's all for free. The membership is $5 per month. This is just for support. I only have two at the card, two really nice people that I should be shouting out more when I have maybe a bigger audience in here, because they're amazing. And so this project, you can see on my Patreon some more information about it, where we did some sketches just to explain the timeline of the inspiration for this project. It started from my country, because it's turning into dystopian, but currently the whole world is turning into dystopian these days, so that's no longer a achievement if you want. But it has sorry, it has some specific history and culture, like every country in the world, that makes it a bit interesting if you just like highlight it in a certain way. Of course, corruption, like complete meltdown, governmental shutdown, like whatever you want. You can go read about it on my Patreon. We also did some sketches about what the scenes that you can see if you take a ride on a moped in my city. This is why I'm starting with a moped. Like you can see the chaotic nature of when you have no government interference and when you let the market do a thing. How will that population, how will the families, how will the culture, how will the religion, how will the different sects react? Specifically when you have like more than 2 or 3 thousand years worth of history, like all the biblical stories, all the religious, like whatever, like all the religious books started from somewhere in this area, and so on. And the whole point of this Patreon, like I said, is to do creative studies and to do visual art studies for me, but for you it can be whatever you want. So I want to inspire you to follow that creativity. This month, or for this short period, we're focusing on this book, Big Magic, where I'm doing some posts related to it that will be published soon, maybe today or tomorrow. And to the art, 3D sketching art, 2D sketching art, and computation art are what it interests me. So I'm gonna be posting assets regarding this, but we'll see how it will grow. Anyway, that's enough talking. And so this is where we left off. Actually not, because I told you that if you watch the previous stream that I'm gonna do some UV mapping work off stream, because I felt that I was like a bit, I don't know, it's a bit awkward because I'm learning as I'm doing this, so I'm like, I don't know all the answers. I'm not an expert in here. I'm just streaming what my like creative exploration part. So, but it ended up being fun. Like I found some shortcuts, some ways to do it quicker. I actually kind of regret not sharing this online. It was so much fun. So if you press Alt Q to change between the different objects in edit mode, you kind of see how look at we have some weird stuff, but it's gonna be texture painted in the end. And the style you're gonna see, it's called the 3D sketching style. It doesn't require all that much. Like a smart UV project would have done the job, but since I'm gonna share this on my Patreon, I really wanted to have a little bit of cleaner packaging for the textures and the assets. All right, so now that the texturing part is done, we don't need this material. Actually, this is that's not needed anymore. So we can I just delete the material? Yeah. So I just deleted the material. No, I have to. Okay. So we don't need this material at all. What we need is a flat representation of this. maybe without the cavities and without the shadows. Also, something really important is to go to the color management, and instead of AGX, just go for the standard. The look, maybe medium contrast would do. If I shifted to EV, which is a bit maybe faster for our purpose, it doesn't really matter. We are here. It's called benchmark, if I'm not workbench, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So now that change in color management is not gonna be seen a lot in the gray color, but when you start painting it, you can see the difference. This is more important. Okay. So step number 2 is to select the collection, Shift A, grease pencil, and collection line art. And you're gonna end up with this mask. So I press 0 for the camera, press N, and then go to view and camera to view. So now these strokes are only visible in relation to the position of the camera. So you have to see your viewport from the camera. It is basically just a grease pencil object, and which is a modifier that is implemented to this whole collection. So first things first, let's change the save frame like this. So let's go out of the, let's start a new viewport. Go maybe to the top view. Where is the camera? Where is the camera? Select the camera, it's somewhere in here. And maybe just press, or first, let's do the remove the camera to viewport. Just make sure that the frame is, you can see everything, and just go back to the camera to viewport. Yeah, this is a better way to do it. Let's not worry about this. So this is when you do stuff live. You're gonna end up like doing some stuff that are redundant, that weren't needed in the first place, but that's fine. I think my microphone, let me see. I need to increase the volume a bit. Maybe this. Test. Maybe this is too high. Test. Yeah. It's a bit far, so okay, maybe I went too far. Now, okay, I think this is better. Hopefully I didn't mess everything up. So anyway, let's go back to the line art, back to the modifier. First, let's reduce the thickness by a lot. Then, just let me check something. So we are in flat. Okay, so the object representation now will give you the white, but in the end we're gonna end up painting stuff. So anyway, let's go back to the line thickness, maybe 3, that's fine. So as you can see here, once you start going outside of the frame of the cam, you're gonna see these kind of clippings, because this is only projected according to the viewpoint. So that's first. I think I want to add something in here. Okay, let's do something else. Let's do a view outside of the cam, and maybe a different type of rendering. Maybe we'll hide the line art for a little bit. Don't press number 1 because it ruins a lot of stuff. I just wanna add a face in here, just to paint some sort of a reflective light. But that, okay, let's do it again. Press K from the vertex to the vertex. That will mess up our UVs. So let's go to the UV editor for this. Okay, it's perfect. It's in here. Nothing happened. Cool. Let's go back to the 3D viewport. Object mode. We don't need this anymore, at least for now. Okay, let's do it. Let's start with the shader graph. So shader editor first. So I was thinking maybe about doing about painting masks. Let's bring back the line art. Okay, before this talking about this, let's fix a bit the creases maybe. Okay, let's go back here first. So the material borders doesn't do anything. The intersection is fine. Okay. So as you can see here, the crease threshold is basically it sees the difference between the angles between the two faces, and it will add the line art over there. Like overdoing it, you can see this. Show you here. So this is too much. Sometimes I like just to turn it off and maybe paint it by myself. We'll see. I like just like the intersection is important. The edge marks, this is where we mark our edges. But the crease here is important too. I'm not sure if we can clear a freestyle edge. So this is for the edges, but it's not going away. It's not that bad, to be honest, but let's see. Let's try to play with it a little bit more. So if we go to 0, so did I turn off the contours, the silhouettes, the individual silhouettes? Yeah. So maybe the individual silhouettes, or let's see. The silhouettes, the contours. The contours by itself is doing a nice job. We can keep the crease. And I think we should do it. Okay. That's fine for now. We can still play around with it later. I just need to do something. 2 minutes, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So let's open a new viewport. Let's go for a different point of view in here. Or maybe this is where we need the shader. Yeah, this is where we need the shaders. So we don't need the N. Okay, so what I was saying is let's call it the body material. My phone is non-stop. Okay, I don't need this. So let's start with an RGB shader. So let's check what shaders do we have. The shaders. Let's start with just a diffuse shader. So just stick it to the surface and let's do a color. Just RGB colors. Yeah. And I think we need to change this to material, or for this. That won't be flat anymore. If I go for this, that will be flat. Okay, let's do this. So I'm changing the rendering to the viewport shading, not the first one. Okay, so let's go for the basic color. My phone needs to stop. Okay. All right. So we need to start creating some masks for this. So I'm not actually just painting the textures right now because I want to have some proceduralism at the start at least, and then maybe later on we can do some mix of textures. So I'm starting just with the RGB, going to just the output without a shader, and directly into the rendering. So even if you go into Eevee right now, it's gonna look flat, so we're fine. And in the background, we can do it completely white, so no saturation at all. So that will do the job. And if you want, you can select the camera, or not necessarily select the camera, just go into the rendering settings and just play a bit with the output, so you'll have all your scooter within the viewport. That's fine. So let's do some textures. Let's do first the masks for the colors. Okay, so the things that we want to do right now is just make the seat a different color. So let's go for a image texture. Let's create a new one. Let's call this seat mask. It's gonna be all in black, sure, why not? And let's go to the edit mode, select the seat. So this is the seat all selected. Then let's go to the control tab. Yeah, texture paint. Then here you can mask by selection, which is just this. Then you can pick the color picker and just paint on this. So what you'll see in here is that everything is in black except for the but it looks gray now. So let me see textures. Okay, let's try to remove this. Okay, that's because of the selection. Okay, so it was looking gray because of the mask. So it's kind of like lowered the opacity of everything. So we're fine. So that's good. Let's use that mask and mix. So let's do a mix shader. Let's go back to the rendering. So we're gonna use mix color, and we're gonna do a different color in here. Let's use this here. So what's happening right now is that we're mixing 50-50 between this gray color and this blue color. What we want is to use this as the mask and to mix it with this. So just pick any colors you want and you'll see. Right now, we have a black seat with a whatever color you have in here. So all of that is just procedural stuff. We're not doing any painting yet. We just need to save stuff. So we need to go to, let me open it in here behind my face because it's not really important. Let's go to image editor and let's just save as, and let's create a new folder. Let's call it textures. So on my desktop, I can change it later. Let's save. So that's already a big step. Now what we can do is just take this color, whatever the hex is, and just plug it into these different pieces. But first, let's see if we should do some more work. And if we go back to cycles, All right. We're not gonna bake the... Okay, so what's happening right now is that everything related to the seat will come from this side, and everything related to the bike will come. So we can still add mixes here, where we can do different stuff. So if we want to introduce a little bit of, let's say, I don't know, ambient lighting or something, because now it's too dark, I can either paint it directly and just mix it, like do different mixes in here. Like you can just say darken, multiply, color burn, whatever. Or I can like say I want this to be a little bit this color, for example. Then I can do a new image texture in here, not in here, in here. Let's call it seed AO. Everything is black, that's fine. Plug it in here. So because everything is dark, this color is not showing anymore, which makes sense. But now, if you go back to the edit mode, still selected, if you go back to the texture mode, back to the mask, and if you start painting, because we're rendering, that's not gonna show. Sometimes when you paint, you cannot paint in render mode, you need to paint in... Okay, in Eevee you can, so let's do this here. So when you start painting, you're just painting a mask, and this is still controllable. So you can still darken all of this if you don't like it. So you still have more control, and then you can paint completely in white, or you can erase what you painted if you don't like it a lot. So this process will create a mess here. That's definitely the case. But at least you will have like more control over the process. I think you can... Yeah. You can mirror everything, which kind of makes more sense. Alright. You can still reduce the opacity of the black, so when you're erasing a little less, and when you press X, you switch between black and white here. You've seen it. Then you can increase a bit the opacity. Let's go back to the white mode. Let's darken this a bit in here. So look, like this is not similar to what you can do in like more advanced texturing tools, but for me it's fine, to be honest. And if you go back to the UVs, you will see that we're basically painting just whites and blacks, and you can paint it also in here. If you change this to... I need my mouse. If you change this to paint, you can paint in here as well. As you can see here. Not sure if you can paint with symmetry in here. I don't think so. Anyway, back to here. So this would be my first pass, just to make sure everything is working properly, because surely... Why did this go to the black side? Why is it black? Let's go back to object mode. What are we seeing in here? We're seeing this. We don't need that. So what's happening? So this going into this. Why did that change? I have no idea. Okay, back to here. So for some reason this changed. I don't know why. Okay, anyways, let's go back to the texture paint. Pick this back. Let's paint everything in black. X. Go back to here. This is in white. Oh no, the vice versa. It's the other way around, sorry. So everything is in white. Everything is in black. That was correct, except for the seat is in white. And then, yep. And now you can kinda pick any color for the bike you want and pick any color for the seat and pick any color for the shadows of that seat. So this is where you can kind of have this what we call proceduralism. It's not just texture painting, like just painting everything, and later on if you have to change anything, you're either gonna have to take the textures, try to manipulate the colors with selections on maybe like Photoshop or GIMP or whatever, or like just build it into the shaders to get a bit more control. So I'm going for weird colors because this is what I usually like, but maybe later on we'll change everything. But for now, that's fine. All right, let's see what we can do with maybe the ambient occlusion, because the ambient occlusion, if it's on, let's make sure it's on in Eevee. So yeah, it's turned on. So it will give you another mask. Let's see what we can get out of here. Sometimes it works much better when it's in cycles. Let me see. So if you're in cycles, no, it's not worth it, to be honest. If we flip the colors, it doesn't really matter. And so, okay, press shift. So it's adding something. We can use it as another mix. But what we can do also is we can add a color ramp and we can control more these volumes. So let's think about what makes more sense. So if we flip it, this kind of looks a bit how it should be, dark on the inside and white where there is light. And because it was flipped because it was supposed to be used as a mask. So if you use the original one, so that's basically a mask where you can use the white areas to inject something into the shadows. This is why it's flipped, I guess. If you take off the inside, you kind of end up with something different. All right, so it's just the process of figuring out what you actually need, what you actually want to achieve. So I like it with the inside. And what we can do is take everything, because this effect is gonna be applied to everything. Push this here, mix it with this, maybe flip them around, mix this with this, I'm not sure. So this will be the full ambient occlusion, this will be our original colors. But we can use different factors. So the darken, let's try to flip it around. Move everything. So what you'll see here is the difference between this and this. And it's not showing a lot because our colors are already dark, but you would see it if we go for something light like this. So maybe let's go for something like this. And you'll see that it is there. But still, I'm not a fan yet of what's happening. So that factor becomes the mixing factor at some point. That's too much. Should we flip it back? Nope. Should we remove the inside? It's all a trial and error, by the way. There is no right and wrong. So if you remove the inside, you go back to multiply. You kinda get something a bit more decent here. Yeah, that looks a bit less aggressive, I guess. The lighten won't do anything, the soft light won't do anything. I think it's a multiply with these settings, that's the best thing you can do, and maybe the distance is also important. That's gonna dictate the thread, the stretch of all of this. Yep. Okay, that's looking cool. Let's see the color, the original color. Let's go for something blue. That's fine, maybe a bit. Yeah. Maybe for the seats we can go for something a bit more classical, beige-ish. And for the shadows now we should go for maybe some reds. Yep. Let's go back to the images editor. Let's go and save all images. That's it for now. Okay, next. So you can see what's happening. I moved this by mistake. Oh, let me lock it. So you can see you can easily mess these things up if you don't name them early on, which I'm gonna do off stream, to be honest. But you can do select these, press T, Control, no, not Control T, Control J, then press F2, and maybe this is the ambient occlusion. So ambient, or maybe just AO will do the job. You can even change the color of this one. In the node, you can pick the color and you can say that this is the AO. And then in here, we can say Ctrl J, select this, F2 will call this the seat, and also change the color to whatever color you want, and the same thing in here. Let's go for the body. I think I'm gonna keep it black for this one. And these are just the mixes, the layers. Let's see something else. So we have the ambient occlusion. There used to be not this curve. If you was it the object info? No. When you press Ctrl T on a texture, it's the texture coordinate, I think. So you have the generated texture coordinate, the normal, the UV, no, not this one. It was maybe not the volume info, the geometry, yeah. So if you plug this into a color ramp, let's delete this color. So this is the position that will change according to the X, Y, and Z. The normal is how the normal is pointing. So if you remove the color ramp, you're gonna see it. The tangent is the tangent curves, and then I think we can get the pointiness if we put it into a color ramp. I think so, not 100% sure, but it has to be somewhere. Doesn't work every time. So the scale is reset, the location is fine. Usually if it should work, it just masks the curvature area, like these edges. I'll be right back. I have a phone call, 1 second. All right, we're back. So the pointiness isn't working. I don't know why. Usually it does. So what it usually does is check maybe the angles aren't pointy enough. I'm not sure if we add the math and we maybe divide or multiply by minuses, it's gonna work. Not minus, by fractions. So no, it's not working. Okay, maybe it's clamped somewhere in here. No, okay, it's not working. We can paint them. So basically, if you have like a 90 degrees angled, usually it will show in these pointiness filters, but it isn't. If we take the random islands, just the random islands, what's gonna happen? Nope, nothing. Okay. Let's see if we can catch it somewhere here in the middle. Nope, nothing. All right, let's move on. That's a shame. Let's try just with math to see if we can do some different filters. Or maybe if we can get the floor or the ceiling. Nope, nothing. Okay, forget it. Let's move on. So this was that, and this goes into the here. Let's keep on doing. Let's work on this. Let's do the same thing. So let's create a new material. Let's call it. Let's remove the shader. Call it I don't know, steering wheel. Let's bring the setup we have in here. Since it's procedural, it's just about painting the masks. So let's bring everything from here into the steering wheel. You can just plug it in here. Now, of course, the mask doesn't make sense, so we don't need that. We don't need a mask for the seat. We can do a separate for this one. P, J. Let's remove that. So we, yeah. Oh, let's delete this and delete this. So what we ended up with here is just this color technically, without forgetting the mix shader. So just the same blue color mixed with the ambient occlusion and just fed into the output of the material without a shader even, because we're going for a flat style. But what we can do in here now is we can select these guys in here. So shift select, sorry, shift Control L, shift Control L. So we can mask these out. So shift Control L, shift, then press Control L, and you can even select these. That's everything in here. Maybe even the handlebars. Sharps. Yep. We can use this as a mask for the black parts. So now what we can do is add another color mix. Make a new texture, image texture, new. Let's call this the steering parts text mask. I don't know. Plug it into the mask in here. Go back into Control Tab, go back into Texture Paint, use this mask, and with the bucket, just paint this in white. And why? Why did you affect all of them? There is something happening where I'm painting on one texture and it's painting on different ones at the same time. I don't know what's happening. It projected this into these for some reason. So this should be black, but the UVs and the material of this are separate from this, so I'm not sure why we ended up. Okay, I think it's a different material. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So just a stupid mistake. I assigned the different shader by mistake in here. Alright. So back to the steering wheel. So now we have the black parts. Not looking good at all, of course. But we can still have the ambient occlusion in here. But maybe that's too dark. Let's go for something a bit lighter. Even if it's black, it shouldn't be that dark. Let's check the ambient occlusion a bit because it doesn't seem like it's working. Let's see, the scale is fine. Oh, hey man, how are you? I'm sorry, I'm I'm stuck between different stuff. Wait. Alright. Just trying to figure the thing out a bit. So it should be something like this. Yeah. Now let's do the mirrors. So this is let's do this Ctrl J, F2, this is the colored part. And this is the ambient occlusion, it should be the last thing. So we should add, no. Where is the, okay, yeah, okay. This should be the remove from frame. So, and let me remove this from frame. So technically, if we duplicate this, remove it from frame, make it black, and assign this to the color, and this in here. So that would be the colored part, and that would be the black parts. Okay, so now we have two different categories or two different layers where we can layer it on. Now that's too dark, let's go for something lighter. Now let's do the screen in here. Now for the screen we can do different stuff. Okay, let's go back to the edit mode, select these two, go back to the texture paint. Let's create a new mask. So image texture, new, I don't know, let's call it dashboard. I don't know what they call this, mask, all in black. Of course, let's use it. Let's get the mix and let's paint this in white. So we should flip them. It's kind of getting confusing by now. You can see why. So let's go back to this part. Let's paint it in white. Why aren't you painting in white? For some reason, it wasn't painting in white. Okay, it's fine. So let's go back here. Let's bring this back in. Okay, so this is now our screen where we can later on paint stuff. So what we can do now is we save, and if we create another image texture, I think paint to the screen, I don't know, call it anything you want. Let's grab the same color in here, whatever. Let's put it in here. And now I think logically I can paint this. Yep. Let's undo. Let's pick some color that it shows a bit more. Yeah, so now we can just go ahead. I can just put stuffs in here, it doesn't really matter. But the crease is not looking nice, I'm not sure why. So there's this line, that line. I want to remove. White looks great, you think? Let's go for white. Texture paint. Bucket white. Then let's paint this again. Just doing whatever right now. It's just a 3D sketch. Okay, so if you go to the line art, is this a crease or a contour? So this line is a contour, which means there's an issue with the welding of the vertices. So if you move this, I think there's a face somewhere in here. Or maybe not. There is something definitely happening in here. You have two edges, so if you just merge by distance, not this much, yeah, that much. Go back to object mode and hide everything. Go back to the line art, and now it's gone. But the mask is weird because of this, because it used to have a contour. So let's go back to the dashboard mask, and let's go back to texture paint. Pick a white color and just paint. Paint back the mask. Or a better idea, go back to the edit mode, select these two, texture paint the bucket, and just go back to the mask and just fill it back again. Okay. So let's just name stuff back again. So this is the mixed node between the colored part and the black parts. This is the mixed node between these two guys and I'm gonna call it the dashboard. I don't know what we should call it. Then we should go and save all the images so we don't lose them. Next we should do one that's the ambient occlusion in the end on top of everything. We can still change it whenever we want. Next, let's do the headlight. Let's go back here. Let's go another mix node, another image texture. Let's do this in yellow. That will be for the headlight for now. Let's do another image texture. Let's alt remove it from here. All right. I'm back from holiday. I'm not performing at my best right now. So headlight, mask, all in black. No saturation, nothing. That's great. Use it in the masks section. So all black, that's fine. Let's go back to the edit mode. Pick all of these guys. Texture paint, use it as a mask and paint it in white. And now this is too yellow. Let's reduce the saturation a bit. Go back to object mode. The black parts are too dark, and I prefer for this one, instead of just plugging the color right in the mix, I prefer to do it in here, so we can just drag this and drop it in here and here. So just for better readability, this would be called the headlight section. So if you want to add some more stuff, paint some more stuff, do some more mixes, we can use this group later on. And even you can use that mask as a I'll be right back, the door is ringing. So streaming on Monday. Everybody's calling, everybody's sending emails, everybody's asking for stuff, the families are asking for stuff. And I'm not at my best because I'm back from a holiday and it's kind of hot in here. Anyway, so let's finish this part for today and then maybe tomorrow we'll do the rest. So I just want to do the metallic parts, the handlebars for now, the brake parts and stuff like this. So we still have more space, another mix node. Okay, well, we could have just selected and painted from just one layer, just like in Photoshop. You can just paint everything by selections and just paint them. But right now what I'm doing is putting everything on a different layer with a different selection, just in case I wanted to have more control or more change in of colors, which actually we are doing right now. So yeah, man, I don't know. I feel a bit disoriented today. I think that's normal. Anyway, let's finish this metal stuff and call it a day for today. Do something else. Answer the people today. So the handle, the brake parts, the brake bars or whatever. Let's do another image texture. New, let's call it the brakes mask. And let's go to edit mode. Select this and this. Control Alt to select everything. Let's make it also for these parts. And these parts. And then let's go back to texture paint. Use this as a mask. And make this in white. Yep. And this can be something else. Okay. I think I made the mistake by painting these directly. So what can be done instead? Okay, so let's just finish this. So these are, let's drag this color in here, plug it in here. Let's call this the brake bars. All right. Object mode, let's be sure that we're in the camera view. Okay. So what I want to do is just fix this because I want to, let's save all the images. So this is the headlights and that's the dashboard texture. Now what I did is I painted the white with these lines and I don't want to do that. So instead I want to add a RGB color here. That would be the white part. And let's kill this one. Let's add this one into a mixed color. Put this one here. Let's add it to the frame. Ctrl J. Let's add an image texture in here. A new one. Let's call it the odometer here. The odo. It will be maybe all in white or let's make it all in black so we can mask it off. So that will be here. Okay, let's paint it. Let's go here. Let's go to texture paint without the mask. Let's pick the something red. So it's not painting for some reason. So we're painting in white, which makes sense. I'm making a test. Okay, so let's. So if you do it multiply, I think, or is it overlay? A lot of decisions today. Color was working just fine. Let's keep it at color. Okay, let's mask it just to make sure that we're. I think it's already masked. We don't need to mask it. Let's just paint. We'll see what will happen. So remove all the saturation. Yep. Just kill everything now and go back. No, this is white. Back to this one. All right. You can paint whatever you want again. So now what happened is that I can change, kind of change the okay. That needs a bit more work. Okay. Shouldn't be. So that's black. Oh, that's the blue. And that's the mixed color. I think we should go back to fully black. Because then let me pick a different color. And now we have these two layers. One is completely blue, one is black and pink. Then if we change the color mixes, it should be one of these. Yeah, it's the lighten, or maybe it's the add. Yeah, the add, because the black is technically 0, so you're adding 0 into the whatever RGB is beneath it. So now you're actually mixing perfectly between these two. So now I can change this to whatever color I want, the base one. And this one I can add color corrections to it. Let me see, which color correction should we take? Colors, RGB curve, maybe? No, or maybe, let's see. Yep. We can even change just the redness or just the blue. So with and without. Yeah, there's a difference. Let's save all the images again. It looks like a mess. That's technically the equivalent of layers on Photoshop if you're doing it node based. Anyway, that's it for today. I think I should stop this chaos. Thank you, Yamraj, for joining. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. And that's it for today.